So, welcome back to the subsequent discussion on operational amplifier application. So, the next application we will take up is op-amp as a relaxation oscillator, and we also have one more application of op-amp as that is voltage to current and current to voltage converters. Before jumping into voltage and current applications, we will try to cover the application of op-amp as a relaxation oscillator, and we will take up our discussion on multivibrators. So, today's class, today's session, let me tell about the working of a relaxation of oscillator and give a quick introduction to multivibrators. So, we will see what multivibrators are, what is a 555 timer, and what are the different types of available multivibrators. So, we will discuss the application of op-amp as a relaxation oscillator. So, relaxation oscillator is a free running oscillator which produces a non-sinusoidal output. So, the output is going to be a non-sinusoidal waveform, and the time period is dependent on the charging and discharging of capacitor involved in the circuit. So, the charge during the charging of capacitor, the output is at some saturation, and during discharge the output is at the other opposite saturation level. So, the circuit of an op-amp relaxation oscillator is something like this. So, it uses negative regenerative feedback, and in the feedback circuit along with the feedback resistance RF, I make use of a capacitor. So, the charging and discharging of your capacitor controls the switching of output from the two saturation levels. So, this is basically a circuit free running oscillator which produces which moves back and forth between a set of positive and negative values. So, what we assume here is, we will assume initially that we will discuss, let me write the waveforms. Let me assume, if I call this as output voltage V naught, let me assume initially the output is at positive saturation. So, when the output is at positive saturation, when this is at positive saturation, what happens is a portion of output is connected back to the input. What portion is connected? So, it is plus V sat voltage drop across R1, that is R1 divided by R1 plus R. Voltage, the reference voltage or the voltage fed back is plus V sat, it is drop across R1, that is plus V sat into R1 divided by R1 plus R2. Now, the output continues to be in positive saturation till the voltage at the inverting terminal is less than that at the non-inverting terminal. Meanwhile, the capacitor comes across this plus V sat, and what it does is, if I write the capacitor voltage, it tends to get charged towards the positive peak. So, through this resistance, the capacitor gets charged towards the positive peak, and once the capacitance voltage increases your upper threshold point, what happens is, voltage at the inverting terminal becomes greater than at the non-inverting terminal. As a result, output switches to minus V sat. Output switches to minus V sat. Now, minus V sat, what happens is, the reference voltage happens to be minus V sat into R1 divided by R1 plus R2. Now, the output, now we have a negative reference voltage at the positive terminal, and the output, the capacitor starts discharging through this resistance and you can observe the capacitance start discharging through the resistance and the output continues to be in negative saturation till the capacitor voltage falls below minus Vsat into R1 divided by R1 plus R2. So, it switches to negative saturation when it crosses Vsat into R1 by R1 plus R2, and when it falls below minus Vsat into R1 by R1 plus R2. So, when it falls below minus Vsat into R1 plus R2, again this is this becomes greater and this becomes less. Again the output switches to plus V saturation and the capacitor charges towards the positive feedback. So, this process of charging and discharging of your capacitor continues, producing the output, pulsed output at the output of your oscillator circuit. So, the output switches from positive saturation and negative saturation, setting the upper threshold point to plus Vsat into R1 by R1 plus R2, and when it drops to minus Vsat, it set the threshold to minus Vsat into R1 by R1 plus R2. So, when capacitor charges above plus Vsat into R1 upper threshold point, it switches to negative saturation, and when the capacitor discharges below minus LT, we will call it as upper threshold point, and this as lower threshold point. When it falls below lower threshold point, it again switches to the positive saturation. This process continues and the output alternates between a plus Sat and minus Vsat, producing free running oscillations at the output of your output of the relaxation oscillator circuit. Now, we will try to analyze the behavior of this, we will try to do some mathematical analysis and arrive at an expression for the time period. So, this is, let me call this as T1 and this as T2, because the charging and discharging time they are equal, T1 and T2 are equal, and this is the total time period. T is equal to 2 times T1, it is T1 plus T2 or 2T. So, we will try to do the mathematical analysis part of the relaxation oscillator. So, we already know the upper threshold point VUT, or you can just call it as UT, is nothing but plus Vsat into R1 divided by R1 plus R2, and lower threshold point, let me call it as VLT, is nothing but minus Vsat into R1 divided by R1 plus R2. Now, let me write the expression for the capacitor voltage. So, if you can recall, the voltage capacitor charges exponentially towards the peak, and the voltage, the capacitor voltage at any instant is dependent on the time. At instant time t, this is the value, it is exponentially increasing, and the expression for the capacitor voltage is final value plus initial minus final into e raised to minus t by charging time or RC. So, let me call this as equation 1. Now, let me determine at t is equal to T1. So, at t is equal to T1, what happens to capacitor voltage? Capacitor voltage is going to be VUT, upper threshold point, or so if you can just write it as VUT instead of writing it completely, let me write it as V. So, at t is equal to T1, the capacitor voltage is VUT. So, substituting these values, VUT is going to be, what is final? It is getting charged towards plus positive saturation. So, it is plus Vsat. What was the initial value? Initial value, it started from where? It started from lower threshold point, VLT. So, VLT minus V final is plus Vsat into e raised to, now t becomes, I am considering at t is equal to T1, T1 by, and t, it is the charging of capacitor, and t is always dependent, the capacitor gets charged through what? RF into C. If you can recall the circuit, the capacitor gets charged to RF and it is RF into C. So, it is T1 by RF into C. Now, what we do is we rearrange this. So, we get I take the expression for E is equal to minus T1 by RF C, which is equal to VUT minus VSAT divided by VLT minus VSAT. If I take minus VSAT common, I will take minus VSAT common. So, I end up getting minus T1 by RF into C is equal to minus Vsat common, let me take it as common, minus sign I will take common, it becomes minus VUT divided by minus Vsat minus VLT. So, this gets cancelled. Now, if I consider I want to arrive at an expression for T1, I take logarithmic to natural logarithmic on both the sides. The expression reduces to minus T by RFC is equal to logarithmic of Vsat minus V upper threshold by Vsat minus V lower threshold. My interest is T1. If I take negative sign, it is going to be RFC is going to be the ratio. It is if I take the ratio, it is going to be 1 over this. So, it is going to be VLT minus V saturation divided by V saturation minus VLT divided by V saturation minus VUT. Now, my interest is T1. T1 is going to be RFC logarithmic of Vsat minus VLT divided by Vsat minus VUT. Now, we have the values of LT and UT, VLT, we will substitute. It is going to be RFC logarithmic of Vsat minus what is VLT? VLT is minus Vsat minus of minus Vsat into R1 by R1 plus R2, and in the denominator we have Vsat minus Vsat into R1 by R1 plus R2. So, out of the two terms I take V saturation common. So, RF CLN Vsat into 1 minus R1 by R1 plus R2 divided by Vsat into 1 minus of minus, this becomes plus 1 plus R1 by R1 plus R2, and this is 1 minus R1 by R1 plus R2. Now, you can see Vsat get cancelled. So, we end up getting RFC logarithmic of, and if you can see R1 by R1 plus R2, it depends on the resistances used in the feedback. So, we can call this as feedback factor. So, I can term this as 1 plus beta by 1 minus beta. So, your T is so much, but T1 is so much. If you want your T, so T is what? 2 times T1, because it is periodic in nature. T1 and charging and discharging time, they are equal. So, 2 T1. So, your T ends up being 2 into RFC logarithmic of 1 plus beta by 1 minus. So, this is the expression for time period of the output pulsed output waveform. You want frequency, you take the reciprocal of time period, you get the frequency of the oscillations obtained by your designed relaxation oscillator. Now, we will see what if you just to quickly run through, we have I will just write the waveforms here. So, initially we assume the output is at positive saturation. So, it is plus Vsat, when the output is at positive saturation, the feedback given is plus Vsat into R1 by R1 plus R2, and it continues to be in plus Vsat into R1 by R1 plus R2 unless the voltage at the inverting terminal drops exceeds this value. So, meanwhile the capacitor gets charged towards the positive peak, and you see this. So, once the capacitor is charged beyond this, the voltage at the non-inverting terminal exceeds. As a result, the output jumps to minus Vsat. Now, when output jumps to minus Vsat, what happens? The reference voltage lower threshold point becomes minus Vsat into R1 by R1 plus R2, and the capacitor discharges through R2. So, while the capacitor is getting charged, the output is at negative saturation, and this continues, resulting in free running oscillation. Now, we are to write the expression for the capacitor voltage. You can see the capacitor is getting charged exponentially. We can write the expression for capacitor as final value plus initial value minus final value into exponential. It is raising as exponential as time function minus t by RT. So, at t is equal to T1, what is the capacitance voltage? It is VUT. Substitute these values. It starts from an initial value of plus Vsat, and it gets charged towards the final value of plus Vsat and starts at an initial value of VLT. Substitute these value and arrive at an expression for T1, we get this expression. So, because time period is 2 times the set of positive and negative values, it is identical to t. The total time period is 2RFC logarithmic of 1 plus beta by 1 minus beta, where beta is the feedback factor which depends on the resistances used in the feedback, R1 by R1 plus R2. We will quickly look into the design equations, take up a problem on the design of relaxation oscillator before we give an introduction to the next topic which is to be discussed. So, now we will look into the design. Now we will look into the design of an relaxation oscillator. So, you know we have just arrived at an expression for time period which is going to be 2 RFC logarithmic of 1 plus beta by 1 minus beta, where beta is the feedback factor which depends on the resistances used in the feedback network. So, it is R1 by R1 plus R2. So, we if you are to design this, say if I take R1 and R2 equal. So, let me say if R1 is equal to R2. So, this beta becomes 1 by 2. Substituting this values, t becomes 2 into RFC logarithmic of 1 plus beta is 3 by 2 by 1 by 2, you end up getting logarithmic of 3. So, if you take 2 identical resistances in the circuit, so just to recall the circuit of relaxation oscillator, we have a circuit something like this. So, if I take the identical values of R1 and R2, the expression for your time period reduces to t is equal to Rf into C logarithmic of 3. To simplify things, what I do is I take values of R1 and R2 such that this logarithmic, that is logarithmic of 1 plus beta by 1 minus beta, this log value tends to become 1. I choose a value of R1 and R2 which makes this logarithmic value equal to 1. So, if this is equal to 1, the expression just reduces to Rf into C, making the design simpler. So, what we do is, instead of taking R1 is equal to R2, what I do here is we take R2 equal to 1.16 R1. So, when you choose a value of R2 is equal to 1.16 R1, this logarithmic of 1 plus beta by 1 minus beta. So, logarithmic of 1 plus beta by 1 minus beta turns out to become 1. So, when this logarithmic value turns out to become 1, T is equal to RFC. So, that is the reason why you usually fix R2 equal to 1.16 R1. This is very important part because you have a lab experiment counterpart of this. So, usually we conduct a lab experiment on design of relaxation oscillator. So, the design equation what we do here is to simplify the design expression, we choose R2 and R1 such that this logarithmic value becomes 1 and the corresponding value of R2 and R1 is R2 is 1.16 R1. When you choose this value of R2 is equal to 1.16 R1, your logarithmic becomes 1, ending up giving you an expression T is equal to Rf and C. Choose the values of the suitable value of C and calculate the corresponding value of R for designing it for a particular frequency. Now, we will quickly take up a small problem on this and try to design given relaxation oscillator for the given frequency, for given frequency. Say you are asked to design a relaxation oscillator to produce oscillations of frequency 1 kilohertz. So, you are given f is equal to 1 kilohertz. You are supposed to design an relaxation oscillator. So, we will take up the circuit of a relaxation oscillator. Circuit of a relaxation oscillator, it has capacitance, the charging of this capacitance, charging and discharging of this capacitance determines the output waveform. Let me call this as RF and this as C, and here we have resistance R1 and our intention is to arrive at an output voltage which has a frequency of 1 kilohertz. So, you are aware the capacitor gets charged, discharged, and during the time the capacitor is getting charged, output is at positive saturation. During the time it gets discharged, it is at negative saturation, producing the free running oscillations at the output. This is plus sat and minus V sat. And this is upper threshold point, that is B ut, that is V sat into beta, and this is lower threshold point, that is minus beta into V sat. So, this is what is expected. So, now you are designing it such that the logarithmic value tends to become 1. So, if you want to make the logarithmic, that is logarithmic of 1 plus beta by 1 minus beta to 1, the values to be taken is, you need to take a value of R2 is equal to 1.16 R1. If you choose a value of R2 which is 1.16 times R1, this ratio tends to become 1, simplifying the design. So, what I do is I take R1 equals 10 kilo ohm. So, corresponding value of R2 becomes 11.6 kilo ohms. So, we are done with designing this feedback, the resistance in the feedback circuit. This is 10 kilo ohm, which is available in as a standard resistor, but because R2 11.6 kilo ohm we do not get it in as a standard value, I will choose to use a potentiometer and set it to 11.6 kilo ohms. Now, I need to determine the frequency. Frequency should be 1 kilohertz. So, frequency is 1 kilohertz, which implies time is 1 by f, that is 1 by 1 into 10 power 3, that is 1 milliseconds. So, the time period of the output signal is 1 millisecond, and you are aware for this your expression for T is 2 RC logarithmic of 1 plus beta by 1 minus beta, but we have chosen the value of R1 and R2 such that this is going to be 1. So, your T is simply 2 Rs, so which is 1 millisecond. So, now let me choose a value of capacitance which is depending on the availability. So, you can choose any capacitance value which is less than 1 microfarad. So, let me choose a capacitance value equal to 0.1 microfarad. So, if you substitute your R value becomes 1 millisecond, 1 into 10 power minus 3 divided by 2 into C is 0.1 into 10 power minus 6. So, you end up getting a resistance value of 5 kilo ohm. You can take 4.8 which is nearest to the, so this is 0.1. So, you end up getting a relaxation oscillator which generates the output oscillations of frequency 1 kilohertz and time period equal to 1 milliseconds. So, this is going to be 0.5, this is going to be 0.5, total time period is 1 millisecond. So, you could be asked to solve similar such problems on relaxation oscillator. The similar grounds, only thing is to make a design simpler, you choose R1, R2 equal to 1.16 R1. So, then your design expression reduces to T is equal to RC. Choose a suitable value of C, corresponding value of R, and your design is ready. With this, we complete our discussion on the relaxation oscillator. In the next class, we will take up the multivibrators. So, a multivibrator is a circuit with regenerative feedback that produces a pulsed output. So, based on the number of stable states the output has, we have 3 types of multivibrators: an astable multivibrator, a monostable multivibrator, and a bistable multivibrator. So, popularly used IC for generating these various timing signals are IC 555 timer. So, before we conclude, we will just discuss the features of 555 timer before we gear up with what 555 timer is in the next class. So, we will discuss the features of IC 555 timer before I conclude today's session, so that it gives an introduction to the next topic which is to be discussed, that is multivibrators using 555 timer. So, why 555 timer is widely used as a timer circuit for generating various clock signals because of the wide range of features it offers. So, 555 timers, they provide very highly stable and accurate time delays. One of the very important feature of your 555 timer is it produces a highly stable and accurate time delays, making it suitable for suitable to be used for generating various timing signals. And the second one is it can be easily configured. As I said, there are 3 types of multivibrators: a monostable, based on the number of stable state the output, pulsed output as, we have 3 types: monostable, astable and bistable multivibrators. And coming to your 555 timer, so you can use a 555 timer to configure the monostable and unstable multivibrators very easily. So, 555 timer can be used to configure a monostable and unstable multivibrators. As the name indicates, if it has a single stable state, we call such multivibrators monostable state. So, it has a single stable state, it always continues to be in a single stable state unless it is triggered. When it is triggered, it goes to a quasi stable state, it goes to the opposite state and immediately gets back to the stable state. And coming to bistable state, in a bistable multivibrators, both the stables are state. So, it either is in an I stable state unless it is triggered. Once it is triggered, it jumps to an opposite low stable state. So, when it continues to be in low stable state, when it is triggered, it jumps back to I stable state, and astable, neither I is a stable state nor low is a stable state. It moves back and forth between the two astable states. So, we call it as astable multivibrators. So, the beauty of your 555 timer is it can be easily configured as a monostable and astable multivibrators. And the third one is it can operate in a wide voltage range of +5 volts to 18 volts. So, and it can drive up to 200 milliamps of current. So, this is the third feature which makes it suitable for various applications. And it is fourth feature is it is compatible with both transistor logical and CMOS logic. So, it is compatible with both the logic circuit that is TTL and CMOS logic. And the fifth one is it offers very high temperature stability, and it is suitable for to be operated in the temperature ranging from -55 degrees to 120 degrees centigrade. So, these are certain important features of your 555 timer which makes it suitable for various timing or for generation of various timing and clock signals. So, coming to the applications of your 555 timer, I will just list out the applications of 555 timer, and in the next class we will get into the details of what is inside a 555 timer and how it can be configured as an astable or monostable multifier. Coming to the applications of your 555 timer. So, one, it can be used as an oscillator producing free running oscillations. Then as a second, it can be used as a linear ramp generator. So, a ramp generator is ramp signal is something like this. It can be used to generate linear ramp generation, and it can generate pulse width modulation and pulse position modulation signals, though this is out behind the scope of our syllabus. I will just make a mention of these two applications. So, pulse width modulation, the width of the pulse, output pulse depends on the modulating signal, and position of the pulse depends on the modulating signal. We call it as pulse modulation signal, and these two are used in your communication. So, though this is out of scope, you just remember it is used either as pulse width, it can be used for pulse width modulation and pulse position modulation application, and most important, it is also used as a frequency divider. So, you have some input frequency, you want to divide it by certain factor, you can use it as frequency divider. So, divide by 2 or divide by 3. So, you can divide the frequency of incoming signal, it can be used as a frequency divider circuit as well. So, these are the potential applications. It can be used as an oscillator, it can be used as a ramp generator, it can be used as pulse width modulation, pulse position modulation, and in frequency division applications. And we have also discussed the features of 555 timer. In the next class, we will take up what is the basic functional blocks inside your 555 timer, and we will also discuss the application of 555 timer as an astable and monostable multivibrator in detail. We will have a quick recap on what we have discussed in today's session. We have discussed relaxation oscillator, we have looked into the design, we have worked out a problem on a relaxation oscillator. We gave a quick introduction on what 555 timer is, discussed in detail the features and application of 555 timer. So, with this we will conclude today's session. In the next session we will take up the 555 timer in detail. Thank you.